Our first and third readings have a theme today of resurrection. The first reading is not specifically about bodily resurrection, but if you think back a few years, there was a song, "Them bones is gonna rise again." And this is what that reading from Ezekiel is the dry bones reading where the bones come to life. And Ezekiel was telling Israel, who at the time of his writing was a captive. The nation had been overcome and dragged to Babylon. And he's telling them God will free you and restore Israel as a kingdom. The nation of Israel has not died, it will survive. In the gospel today, word comes to Jesus that Lazarus is sick. And Jesus says, okay, I'll be there. But he waits 3-4 days. And then he goes to Bethany and he's aware Lazarus has died. And they come out to meet him. Lord, if you had been here, he wouldn't have died. And Jesus said, he will rise again. And they said, we know that, but he's gone. And death is a very stark thing. Even today in our lives, it seems to be so final, so far into what our life is. It was even starker in the Mideast, and it still is, where when somebody dies, they would immediately prepare the body and take them out of the city and bury them before sundown, the same day. And in the life of Jesus, we see in the Gospels 3 times where he brought somebody back to life. You remember perhaps the little girl, the son of Jairus, the daughter of Jairus, who had fallen into death in her house, and he brought her back to life. The second time was the son of the widow Nain. He was being carried out of the city to his burial, and Jesus raised him as he was being carried to the grave. With Lazarus, he was in the tomb 4 days. You're talking the Middle East with high temperature, no embalming. Obviously, after 4 days, the body would have deteriorated. Yet Jesus told them, I am going to prove you with a sign of the power of Christ over life and death. At this time in Christ's life, he knew the reverberations of making Lazarus rise from the dead. Yet he did it anyway. He called him forth and restored him to his family. Such power he was showing, and it increased the anger. It increased the peril that he had that was going to lead to his death and resurrection, but he did it only himself anyway to prove the power he had over life and death. Now, none of us knows what death is, what's going to happen after death, but faith tells us life goes on, life continues. And we know God is love, and all of us are subsumed in that love. And if we live in God's love and live a life of love, one permanent in the world besides the life God gave us is love. Love is God himself, and at the end of life in this world, love and our life continues still subsumed in the love of God. This is the faith that we have, and what is the meaning of Christ when he has power over life and death, and that we too, at the end of our lives, will not be dead in terms of not having life anymore, but life will go on. It will be life in God, life in the love that he has for all of us.